ING. What's good, people? How's it going? How's it going? How's it going? We're back again. I know you can see us and not see us at the same time, which is pretty damn cool. But we are here for episode 554 of Horror Research 30, getting that little Voodoo vengeance on with Sugar Hill. And I have some characters with me, as usual.
Characters. I like that. Characters. I like that a lot.
How's it going, gentlemen? Well, no, I'm not going to call you that. How's it going, characters?
We're chilling.
I'm chilling. That's ridiculous. How's everybody doing?
That is not ridiculous. That is fantastic. If you change that, I don't want to talk to you anymore.
From gentlemen?
Characters.
Oh no! I said what's going on, gentlemen? I said I take that back.
One
That's
of us anyway.
You retracted the statement.
Yeah, I did. But we're here tonight, and Johnny, this is Trevor on your side, and Nick down there. You met Chris before.
Yes.
Yep. Worse than on popcorn and pints and all that great stuff. So we're here to talk. You know, this is Blaxploitation on Horror Research 30 for the month of June. And just before we get into it, Trump and Elon are beefing. The love fest is over, guys, and they broke up during Pride Month. Isn't that something? And they're over there
my God,
arguing like an upset couple, like a young couple on Twitter and Truth Social and all this other bullshit. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I hope they tear each other apart. I hope they tear each other down and just, I don't know.
See, when I was dating my wife,
I made this call like months ago.
I said this the day after the election.
And Beavis and Butthead were going to go at each other, and then that was just going to be it for a long time.
I want to point out he didn't say that. We were talking around 6 months ago, and he was like, you know what's going to be a relationship that goes the distance? Elon and Donnie Boy. So Trevor, stick to movies because you don't know the relationships between billionaires and presidents.
What's their fucking like Hollywood couple's name? Donley or Delon?
Donlon.
Yeah.
Donlon.
I don't know. You know what? I take Delon back. That sounds too black.
Muskie Trump.
Trusk.
There you go. Muskie Trump.
Trusk.
See,
that's too cool.
Trusk is too cool.
It's a good. I don't want to give them a cool sounding name.
Oh, so I got that one. Okay, then D-Line.
Like now I just like Trusk as a name.
D-Line's black. You know there's some dude named D-Line.
Elon is African. He's not black.
He's Afrikaner. He's Dutch based.
There's definitely a black guy named D-Line Trump.
Well, in fairness.
That's for real. Elon. I won't be surprised it's a rap name.
Oh man!
Let me tell you something. This is the greatest feud online ever. When I started dating my wife, I made one comment after an argument we had after like 4 months of dating. I posted one thing on Facebook, and I swear that woman's feet didn't touch the ground before she came downstairs and was like, "We're gonna date. We ain't doing this." And I went, "You know what? Fine." And I never did it again. Trump and Elon should have had this talk. This is too much, and I'm here for it. I want every bit of tea that Elon wants to spill. Listen, I don't respect Elon. He's not coming back for me. I don't give a shit about that guy. Fuck him. But fuck the guy who's fighting even more, and I can't wait. Because if he's on that list, I want it out. I want it there. I want to see it.
I want to see a human centipede of Elon, Trump, and Putin. I really don't want to see that. Honestly, that sounds like it would scar you for life.
Oh my God!
They already did that centipede thing together anyway.
So it's in the middle.
Probably.
Were they at the Diddy parties?
So is he in the middle or is he in the front of the centipede? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
That's a good question.
He likes to talk. He's the head.
Trump deserves to eat as much shit as possible, honestly. So
I mean, he's more suited to be the ass, but I think he might be the head on that one. He is the president.
That means nothing anymore. If anything, this dude is showing that like president means nothing. He's losing every court case. You know, I'm not saying he hasn't been effective in ruining certain people's lives. I'm not trying to take anybody away from that. 247,000 people have applied for unemployment in this country just last month.
Wow.
Woo.
So,
congratulations, Donnie.
So great economy. You're fantastic. You know what else is a horror show, but better? Sugar Hill.
Segue game.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Much better.
Damn right. And I gotta say,
and more black people.
Hold on.
We know you don't like that, Donnie.
All right. So since we segued into that, what I was gonna ask earlier is what exactly is what is it? Blaxploitation? Okay.
So it was a movement in the 70s where I don't know why the white guys started talking.
you're a film guy. Go ahead.
I mean, what do you mean? I'm literally like, okay, I'm in learn
why
mode.
did I start talking? It was a movement in the 70s.
Apparently, you know more history about black films or black stuff.
I just appreciate
film.
You don't say that to Trevor. Just because he has more DVDs in the background doesn't mean I haven't seen him. Listen, Blaxploitation it was a movement by black creators to make their own sense of Hollywood, which was inspired a lot by the independent movement, the French New Wave, Japanese New Wave. I mean, Trevor, back me up here if you agree or I'm missing something. But so in the 70s, we saw a surge in a lot of it is because technology got easier to use, more handheld technology, things like that. And it was readily available for people who wanted to do it, artists. So black creators, for the most part, and allied creators as well, got together and they started making these exploitation type of movies where if you like exploitation is just exploiting a certain group or type or area or something. Like there's Australian exploitation, everything. So and the 70s was a little bit more free base to get away with a lot more.
Yeah.
So black creators, I call them creators, black filmmakers, I should say, is were finally able to create their own stories and put them out there with their voices as compared to before where they were just sort of a part of the cog. Okay. Or a cog in the machine, in a greater machine, I should say.
So is Black?
How did I do on that, Professor?
Pretty good. Yeah. I mean, there's
pretty
some random
good
stuff, but
what did I miss?
I'm curious what everybody says about Blaxploitation because it wasn't.
Go ahead, Professor Pompous. What'd you say? What do you say?
Well, I was curious what everybody else's definition of Blaxploitation is.
Well, I feel like we shouldn't do that. That's like
no, but
let's have a conversation about it.
Okay. Well, the only things that I would really add is that the term Blaxploitation was actually by accident. It was a study that was being done, and there was an article that ran in some major paper or something that was trying to down these films as being black exploitation. So before roughly around 71, they were pretty much known as black movies. I mean, you had Raisin in the Sun, all these kind of things. But once what was already happening in the late 60s and this growth of an African-American black-based cinema ended up, somebody picked up the name, one of the biggest ones being Samuel Z. Arkoff, and started making boom, 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 boom. So your Blaxploitation films come from these amazingly intense, good films, but once the money was there, you started adding football players and all this kind of stuff. And it was all about making money. But the awesome part, like every kind of exploitation almost, nunsploitation, ozploitation, Blaxploitation opened careers for so many wonderful motherfuckers.
Well, and just to add to the naming portion of it, like you had brought up A Raisin in the Sun, which is a fantastic movie if anybody hasn't watched it. Black films, for predominantly beforehand, the stories that were being made that black black artists were making were from plays that they're writing. Because that was really where the control came from, where they could tell their stories in an open place. And, movie studios weren't really allowing for that. Indie film wasn't a big thing back in 50s, 60s, and so on, even before. So to add to like what Trevor's saying, like exploitation films have been around always. So saying that's an exploitation film, sexploitation was a big thing. You know, like it's always been sort of tied. Yes, I know what you're talking about, but Blaxploitation, kind of condensing with everything, that was a way, like, to me, I've always, like, I talked to Sturdy, I've always thought of like the 70s as a renaissance in filmmaking, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to, but with black films, I would say the renaissance was more in the 90s because of Blaxploitation, you know, and what they were able to achieve now that they were able to tell their own stories and make them without having to sell those stories first in a play setting.
Oh yeah.
And so, like, that's the only reason I would say, like, you know, I know it was a term for this, but it was adopted very fast. And in fact, we were talking about Black Caesar, directed by Larry Cohen, who was one of the early exploitation filmmakers. Another, you know, he was one of the bigger ones that ended up. But like when he stepped in, and he used that term all the time.
Oh yeah.
He used that as a term to market black films, you know, Blaxploitation films at the time.
One of the things that also fueled the concept of Blaxploitation, and you just touched upon it with Larry's films, was that a majority of the films that were in the popular and genre area were usually directed by white guys. And Sugar Hill is an example of that. Paul Maslansky, the only film this guy ever made. But it's also interesting because, you know, like Sam Arkoff and people like that did exactly what Mick said. They were like, oh, let's pair some renegades out there to do something that we don't know what it's going to pay off with. So you did have Larry Cohen doing crazy stuff.
A lot of times too, the other white directors were Jewish.
Yeah.
You know, so it was also like marginalized groups kind of coming together to make these films that were often considered out on the outside of the industry.
Nice. Okay.
All right.
Well, now I'm informed.
Me too.
Well, we're so glad you're informed, Chris.
With like any exploitation, there's so much. I mean, there's like Mick and I have kind of told me this is the golden era, 71 to 77 ish. But you can apply any of those things to any kind of film within those genres today. You go through Tubi, trust me, you come through films that will come under the category of Blaxploitation.
Yeah, even early Blaxploitation films like Bone, which came out in 68, I think.
Freaking awesome.
Or 68.
Yeah.
Was Bone Yaphet Kotto?
I thought it was.
I thought, Yaphet Kotto was in...
Jim Brown? Wasn't... Wait.
No, I don't think he was a celebrity at the time. I think it was a very... I have to double check. I don't think it was Yaphet Kotto, though. Yaphet Kotto was in... what was the movie? God, I just was watching it. It was not too long ago. I'd have to look it up, but
that happened.
Oh, I'm gonna look it up right now.
I think it was 1968. I can't remember who the star of the movie was.
Yaphet Kotto, 1972.
72. Well, okay, so was Yaphet Kotto?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, good. Then which one am I thinking of? Maybe I called the wrong title, because that's definitely was earlier than 72. Oh, Bone was the one where he takes the couple. Yes, all right. I was thinking of another movie. I'm sorry. That was a good movie. Another Larry Cohen movie.
Fight for Your Life is kind of similar, but unlike Bone, which features the great Larry Cohen, amazing writing, and Yaphet Kotto, the other movie is worth seeing, but it is, super cringy, but very well made. Fight for Your Life. It's around the same time.
Because there was another movie with Yaphet Kotto that I'm thinking of that came out. I'm trying to think of the name of it. It was a Blaxploitation film.
Is it Across 110th Street?
No, it was which one?
Is it Across 110th Street?
That's one of them. That was one of the ones that got
classic.
I'm trying to think of what it was because it helped him get the role in Live and Let Die, which came out. That's why I know it was after 72, before, like way before. So I have to look it up, but I will find out for you.
Oh shit!
He made Live and Let Die in '73, so it has to. Is it the one with Bill Cosby, Man and Boy?
No, I have to. Night Chase.
Night Chase.
Yes.
David Jansen. It wasn't a black exploitation film, but it was an exploitation film. Night Chase, I think, was the one that like helped get him solidified. Who was in that movie? William Catt.
Yep.
That's why I was
The
looking
real
it up.
American hero. Right?
I was putting together a top 5 William Catt for Carolina Fear Fest, and I'm like I'm doing research. So yeah, it wasn't Bowen, it was Night Chase. My apologies. I do too many movies a week. I can't handle it.
That's cool.
I get it. Well, I don't do that many, but I get it.
He does movies, a lot of them.
Oh man.
Sorry.
Plus 110th Street's great though. Great pull on that.
Yeah.
Amazing film.
Bobby Womack.
Yep. Okay, let's. You brought it up, so let's just start right off the bat. How many people loved that Voodoo Woman song that starts out this film? Supernatural Voodoo Woman. Okay, so here's a little factoid. When Paul Maslansky submitted his final cut with AIP, it had just drums at the beginning. It was Arkoff that literally just called up Motown's like, I need something catchy and cheap. And the Originals wrote a song called Supernatural Voodoo Woman. And that's another thing about the Blaxploitation films. Soundtrack was key. Like, I mean, you were up against Curtis Mayfield and Isaac Hayes and,
James Brown.
Who could be exactly, it was amazing. There's a great compilation that was put out years and years ago of it was like 3 discs of all the theme songs to Blaxploitation films.
Which, if you listen to some of these theme songs, just to piggyback off that, and you could talk to this a lot better than I can, Trevor, but like how many of these songs are still sampled in hip hop today?
Don't even get me on the wonders of sampling.
But specifically from this era of movies, showing how influential they were. That this music still shows up in movies that we don't know where it comes from. Well, the white guys know.
That's one dope thing about watching films in general. Like when we went back and watched Bond, and I heard that, but that's okay. I like the colonized stuff. Anyway, see that? You see that? You see what you did there?
Oh God, we're all
just a little from here, just a little from here.
But no, what I was gonna say though, I love that marriage between music and film, and just stuff like that in general. How it's all collected because Mick, Trevor, we did the Godzilla thing last year, and then I was excited. I remember I was telling you guys for like 6 months straight, every fucking place I went, I was seeing Godzilla something. Yeah. And then just from like movies and songs and shit, and I'm just like, holy shit, that was from Godzilla. Holy shit, that was from Godzilla. Holy shit, that was from Godzilla. Just that alone. So then to go to like the Blaxploitation films, I know you're gonna find more Bond, even just like phrases from films. I love when you hear that in a song or in a movie later on down the road. You're like, oh shit, so that's where that came from. Now I get it.
Now let me
like Blue Sunshine, the dude flapping his arms in the corner talking about, I forgot what Godzilla monster it was, but after seeing the Godzilla films and watching Blue Sunshine again, I knew what it was, and I was laughing so fucking hard because I got it. I was like, oh shit.
I love that.
I love what you just said, but I just had to add that how you explain that is a wonderful way for me to explain the neurodivergent mind. So imagine all those interests at any given time doing what Godzilla did to you. Yeah. That's life in a neurodivergent head. It's really awesome, but it's also intense.
It's Pride Month. We'll save that for mental health awareness.
Well,
month.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
But I mean, he brought that up, and I'm like, that's my brain all the time,
Fucking almost made me laugh, you piece of shit. What? All right.
Oh, shit.
Anybody recognize Valentine? And I want my heart, and I know one of you does.
Is that
Valentine.
Valentine.
Where's he from? The actor's name is Richard Lawson. Do not look it up. Where's he from?
Stepdaddy.
What?
Richard Lawson's Beyonce stepdaddy.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's
Yeah.
not information I needed to know, but that's cool.
That's where mine went to.
That's not information I needed to know, but cool.
Johnny,
let's get back to finding the right answer here.
listen, you shut your mouth up there, all right, Johnny.
Isn't
You're
it
gonna
Detroit 9000?
you'll fit in fine. Just know we're all.
Oh shit!
Well, he knows. He, like I said, when he came in, popcorn and pints. I told the guys that he was coming out, and that was it. He came into us talking about Diddy parties. Didn't as soon as I let him in, he just got.
I didn't know you had
the,
so much baby oil at your house.
Oh, I don't. Diddy has it all, and Henry has the other bottle. He told
They
me.
seized it for the trial. Sturdy was his manufacturer.
If I was his manufacturer of baby oil, I was doing it wrong because I'm broke.
Oh, Sturdy oil. It will keep you wet forever.
He was supplying him with the baby oil so he wouldn't do it to him.
Why are dude, first of all, we should be doing a read right now. You for Sturdy baby oil. Diddy approved. How? Doing this.
Because I don't want anything Diddy approved.
Slide into Sturdovision.
Welcome to Pride Month.
Oh my god!
Whack.
See, it's wild. Okay, Richard Lawson, who is Beyonce's stepdad, and I know that now, and I'm gonna always remember that fucking Valentine from Sugar Hill is at Beyonce's like parties.
Yeah,
we know this. So
nice.
He was also Ryan in Poltergeist.
Yep.
More horror. I mean, he was in tons of stuff. Like he was in lots of stuff, but horror related. Sturdy says I'm not allowed to talk about other stuff.
That's also horror related. His daughter was in Bones. Bianca Lawson. She was the final girl in Bones.
Nice.
There you go. Yeah. Boom. We got connections.
Yeah.
And I don't think Beyonce was in a horror movie, was she?
She's living one
she acted in.
She made Goldmember.
Oh, okay. Horror bull movies for sure. He was also what's his name in one of my favorite Walter Hill movies, Streets of Fire.
With Michael.
Never heard of it.
Oh my god!
Oh, you gotta see it.
I love that movie. Oh, why am I talking to
Dafoe.
You fucker.
Is it Willem? I called him William.
Willem. That's Willem. I called him William for years, then I finally looked it up on something and went, "Oh, it is actually written that way."
Willem Dafoe.
Willem.
How you doing, Willem?
I mean, can you imagine Willem Dafoe's parents? And I imagine that calling their child Willem would have made sense because they can only imagine what spawned Willem Dafoe.
His mom's
imagine seeing him as a baby and looking exactly the same. It's like
His mom's maiden name is actually De Hero.
Are you serious? Or are you making this up?
Fuck yes, I got one of you.
You went back to formula on that one.
Did
Duffo, the hero. I knew I should have said the protagonist. Whatever.
Oh shit! I just realized James isn't even here. My bad, James.
Oh, James, we missed you.
I just read the message. And I'm like, wait, what? Oh shit!
Congratulations to your lovely wife. That is a hell of a feat.
Yeah. Yay. Oh, I meant to tell you this earlier, James. Before you traveled, safe travels. And yes, congratulations to your wife for singing at Carnegie Hall. That's fucking awesome. Big shout out to her. And make sure you say that we're giving her props over here on Horror with Sir 30. So big shout out to your wife. And fuck you for not being here. But I'm also happy for your wife.
There's an intermission.
You know what I mean? Compliment them, then you back.
Listen, I said fuck you for not being here, but I'm also happy you're there supporting your wife. You know, I have to throw some selfishness in there.
Take her to Sugar Hill.
It is the American.
He's like, you're a good husband, asshole.
Yeah.
What a terrible partner.
Yes.
Listen, we need to stop fighting. Fuck you, Chris. But we need to stop fighting. All right, there's too much. I'm laughing at something that happened earlier. There's too much fighting happening in the world today. All right,
so much trouble in the world.
Country fighting. We can't be.
But let's
Fuck you, Chris. But
let's dive into ratings really quick for this one.
He's a big asshole. Why can't we be friends?
Holy
Ah.
shit. Holy
Feels
shit.
good to release it. Feels good to
That's a
release
hit.
it.
That's a hit.
And I will kick it off with myself. I gave this one an 8.5. First time watch, I had a really good time with it, and it was a cool. Well, I won't even get into that. We can get into that after. Let's get everybody's ratings. Trevor, what do you got for us, good sir?
Well, I'm going to give it a solid 8.5 also.
What?
It's always been one of my favorites. I would say personally, it's in my top 10 blaxploitation films of all time. We've mentioned a lot of the actors and everything, but one of the thing that's very important, as I said, almost anything that has exploitation beside it, Samuel Z. Arkoff, whoever, all these C and D movie houses, drive-ins, they created these huge stars in ways you have no idea. Yes, Jack Nicholson came out of that system, but super quick. We just talked about Don Pedro Colley. He started off in the 60s on a Western called The Virginian, and then to this day still does television. Mama Matrice, this 100-year-old lady, is a 70-year-old actress named Zara Cooley, who's on The Jeffersons, All in the Family, and The Mod Squad. And then you look at Charlie at Night Court. One of the really cool things about underground cinema in the 70s and early 80s is almost all the subsidiary characters and some of the main characters in those movies went on to be the faces of 80s and early 90s television. And that's one of the things I wanted to say. And also, really, really quick, because we talked, Mick, you brought up about the concept of drama and
he did talk
writing plays.
Mhm.
Zara Cooley, or Zara Cooley especially, came from a theatrical background. And several of the other people also came from theatrical backgrounds before they even stepped in front of any movie camera.
Listen, it's
So-
Juneteenth. We're not celebrating any of the white cast members. So I'm just
Mama Matrice,
to add to that though, I was telling Sturdy earlier, Tony Brubaker, he played like the lead zombie in this. He was a phenomenal and one of the earliest black stuntmen. So and he had a very long career afterwards and a lot of amazing stuff. So I thought that was really cool to find out about this movie as well.
What is your rating, Mick?
I give this an 8. This is a good one. I was excited for you to watch this one too.
Yeah, I'm definitely glad I watched it. I'm definitely glad. Like this was, again, I'll get to it when we get there. But Gamer, what you got for us?
6.
Yeah, of course.
6?
It's a 6.
It was It was okay. It was
Too
more
many
than
black
fair.
people.
I hate all people.
Not enough Puerto Ricans.
You like Lovecraft?
Hate all peoples.
Oh man, what about you, Johnny?
Not enough long flowing hair. No,
Dude, Johnny stepped into
bad,
something. Johnny stepped into something between Chris and I that he was unprepared for in this.
I was prepared and unprepared. I was both.
You'll be in soon enough. We'll be doing it to you.
Well, I was really disappointed that I sat and watched this movie for an hour and a half, and I was just like, where are the zombies? I'm looking at Wesley Snipes right now and this other guy, and I'm just like, is this the right movie? I'm glad my two movie guys. No, it's 7.5, 8. 7.5, 8.
I stopped watching for a second, looked down on my phone, and then we hit a part, and I was like, is that fucking Samuel L. Jackson? One of the actors just sounded like Samuel L. Jackson if you weren't watching the screen. I looked back and
It's
I'm
like the poster.
No.
If you look at it quickly, it looks like Pam Grier. And
They don't all look.
purpose.
They don't all look alike, Chris.
But she bad. I didn't say that.
But no, that
I put words in my mouth. Only
she's made
sandwiches.
to look like Pam Grier on the poster because Pam Grier was the queen.
She was hot back then. Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, Gamer. If I ever seen Mick feed you sandwiches, I'm just gonna leave the room because I'm afraid what's gonna happen next.
It's going to be like finger sandwiches too.
You mentioned about
actual fingers.
Eat your finger sandwiches, Chris.
Well,
Maybe
you
we'll shut them up for a few minutes.
you mentioned about not seeing the zombies and everything. And rewatching Sugar Hill, that was one of the things that I thought about. I was like, this is not a zombie film. This is a folk horror film.
Oh, yeah.
And it reads best as a folk horror film. But the thing that's really crazy is, okay, so we're looking at, it was made between like 73, 74.
Mm-hmm.
That if you look at the special effects, which were totally thrown together, yes, those are ping pong balls and they're just painted in, but the zombies, how they come out of the ground and how they kind of looked, I don't know why, but it's the Italian zombies have a great deal of a connection to the Sugar Hill zombies.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I would.
I mean, compared to anything else that you can connect Fulci style zombies to.
In fairness, though, this did go with, and I don't know for sure. I'd have to look into it a little bit more. But like this went into a more voodoo background,
Yeah,
which
like Lord Shango.
It was
not very accurate, but for the time, that was the lore that was pushed in a lot of books and movies. So, and like Italian zombie films really jumped on that. Really jumped on that. Like, whereas you got George Romero, who could have been a comic, could have been this, that, or the other thing. Like, I remember Italian zombie films sort of drawing on that, for the most part. So that, like, I could definitely see a lot of black exploitation drawing from Italian, because that was a huge movement too, right? No, you got to tell me, Trevor. I don't know.
Well, Dario and.
I would say a great thing if you had to compare blaxploitation to another country's, we're going to talk about Italy, Filoni or genre, is I would say black exploitation and the spaghetti western are very closely connected. And I say that because you have to add to the Trinity the Shaw brothers, because it's Django, Shaw brothers, downtown cinema, and that is what creates, in my opinion, a pretty good recipe for what eventually came out in the 70s.
Marginalized groups, immigrants, everybody, they've been making the movies that we love for far too long without credit.
Yeah.
This is a funny thing too, before I forget. So I said about Paul Maslansky, who, okay, real quick, he was very popular in Rome, did a lot of producing, came here, was friends with Sam Z. Arkoff. Sam Z was just starting to make blaxploitation films. He's like, can you do me a favor? Can you direct a movie? That's how he gets into it. But besides the fact that it was exceedingly hot in Houston during the summer, it was 3 weeks of everybody had a great time. But Paul Maslansky is most famous for thinking up the idea and producing the Police Academy franchise. So the director of this film is responsible for the existence of Police Academy.
Well, then fuck them.
Yeah.
I hate those films too. So yeah, I mean,
I don't, they'll make me laugh, but they are not, like, I don't understand why. It's got to be nostalgia. Like, those are, in my opinion.
Well, Bob Clark made Porky's too, guy. So
yeah, fair. Like, but the Police Academy are the epitome of what the 80s was. Like, you had something that could, like, set the world on fire and be this huge franchise thing, but it's not that good.
Well, I mean, okay, so we look at like movies, right, and we rate them and we judge them based on certain things. But to me, sometimes certain things are made, and we need to just enjoy them for what they are for the period, and then understand that there's something else. There's another category. There's a whole nother level. It's timeless. You know what I mean? So there's movies that will last forever that people will return to, or can spark, new conversations when you introduce new people to it. And then there's movies that are literally, if you was around in that time or near that time and you kind of get it, you get it. You know what I mean?
What?
Exactly.
I get what you're saying. If you get it, you got it.
I understand.
Exactly.
He knew.
You know what I'm saying? Jive turkeys.
I know what you're saying. I get it.
Picking up what I'm dropping.
I got it.
I will say this.
Well, this is the thing. You can't honestly, even the most timeless films, when you get done watching them, you should apply them to the time period that they were made. how you like them, and then you should apply them to how they are translated today.
Yeah, man, holding.
And I think that is the best way to approach all art, because the past is problematic no matter how you fucking paint it.
Yep.
I say pee on it.
So yeah,
because these movies are so good, but there's a lot of shit out there in the 80s.
Oh yeah.
I don't hate 80s movies. I have Back to the Future is my favorite movie of all time, but I know what the 80s was. I've told 30 million times when I'm critiquing a movie or whatever, I grade on a curve. An 80s movies curve. 80s movies are like the C students.
Oh wow.
Think about it. Like
I give them at least a B-.
No.
We got Beverly Hills Cop in that day.
I would have given him a B- before 95.
But there was so much amazingly good stuff made during the 80s, though, too.
Name
Like,
a masterpiece.
Die Hard.
Die Hard's not a masterpiece. Die Hard's an amazing film.
Altered States.
Disagree.
Annie
Hardcore
Hall.
Disagree that's a masterpiece film. But I mean, I will take it as an exploitation.
Oh no, Mean Street's
70s.
70s, that's right. I mean, The Big Chill.
Definitely not a masterpiece. A lot of problems with that movie. Again, Back to the Future, an influential 80s movie, which is my favorite movie of all time. I will say
Back to the Future
American Gigolo?
Future.
A masterpiece?
Looking for Mr. Goodbar, man?
Goodbar? Yeah. That was
that's the thing. You're going with niche. These aren't masterpieces. Like the biggest masterpiece.
It got wide release.
The only masterpiece I would say that came out of the 80s is probably Do the Right Thing.
Oh, that is a masterpiece, no question.
But it was 1989, right on the cusp, and I don't mention it because it's a travesty that it lost to Driving Miss Daisy. Batman. So, like, Batman's great. Batman is great, but it's not, like, when I think masterpiece.
What about Empire?
I'm thinking, Empire's great. Empire's fantastic. That whole trilogy is a masterpiece trilogy. But it's not all one movie in the 80s. And I don't think you should count franchises or anything altogether when you're talking about masterpiece.
Neither is Back to the Future.
I agree. It isn't a masterpiece. I say that.
Okay. No. That is not all just like one movie in the 80s. But
Back to the Future, the first one, does work on its own. Like, it doesn't need the sequels. That was a joke tag on it at the end. But like, to go with like a masterpiece film, like, think about it. Think about like, what is a masterpiece film? A Godfather is a masterpiece film. Would you call The Godfather 3 the masterpiece film? I wouldn't.
No.
But like,
what about The Shining?
About that level.
Shining was.
Now, 1999 put out a lot of films like that. 1999 put the curve of the 80s into the seas. Like, there are some great movies that came out.
99, son. Oh, wait.
Officer and Gentleman?
What? 99.
Officer and Gentleman was a great film.
It was a great film.
84.
I wouldn't call it a masterpiece.
What about Carpenter's The Thing?
I wouldn't call it a masterpiece. It definitely didn't. Audiences definitely didn't call it a masterpiece in 1982. But even now, it gained more from cult classic. It's fantastic. Don't get me wrong. I don't take anything away from it. Definitely not.
Life Force.
Oh God.
What is considered a masterpiece?
I really love that film, though. I can't.
I guess, how do you classify a masterpiece?
Yeah,
what are the credentials? What are the boxes to check?
I would call the first Star Wars A New Hope a masterpiece. Agreed. You can't have Empire without Return. You can't have Empire without A New Hope. You can have A New Hope without any other Star Wars. And the story's done. Beginning, middle, end. It hands out perfectly for its time, the special effects, everything. It was a masterpiece.
Okay.
You cannot compare subsequent sequels coming out even years and years later with better technology because they couldn't even achieve what that first one did. Now, I'm not going to go on a whole tear of like the greatest film, but like, let's go to Do the Right Thing. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, one of the only 80s masterpieces. That movie will stand the test of time. A masterpiece stands the test of time in filmmaking. You may love a movie, a small group may love a movie, but masterpieces are always remembered. They're the films that will always go on. Now, it's Trevor, you, me, and everybody else in our presence right now. We know more about movies than most people. There is nothing against that. So when people watch us, like we delve deep into it.
Yeah.
But most people know what the masterpieces are because you can't help but not know. Look at Interstellar's a masterpiece. You know, not every Christopher Nolan is
blockbuster masterpiece.
No, we're talking about masterpiece films, perfect films,
you want me to give
perfect
you a list of
achievements in
people that I could show
filmmaking.
Citizen Kane to, and they'd fall asleep midway?
Citizen Kane should be considered a masterpiece. Do you
It
know
is a
what
masterpiece.
On a technical
what I'm
level, it is.
okay? I realize you might not be in agree with me because you love 80s movies, and that's great. Life Force isn't comparable to Citizen Kane because it didn't for filmmaking that Citizen Kane still inspires today filmmakers with its shots. You know, its cinematography, what went into making that story, the whole thing behind it. Plus, it's written by Mankiewicz. Like, I mean, it's you have the codex in all of these movies.
So the 70s was rough and tough, and it actually got a fair amount of backing after it won awards, but how you really got to it was digging deep. And the one thing about the 80s is I have to say there was a lot of cinema that was anti-Reagan and also anti-intervention.
There's a lot of pro-Reagan cinema.
Well, there was. I mean, Red Dawn is one of the most sickening films ever made.
But most people would call it a masterpiece.
But
But do you see where, like,
masterpiece? Salvador, The Missing, those are masterpieces.
But I'm not sitting here saying Mick Manhattan says this is a masterpiece, so you should believe it. I am on the curve, like I'm talking about, rating these masterpieces, saying these are the ones that stand out the test of time. It goes down in history if you look at lists. Like people who are much smarter than you, me, or anybody else about film adhere to that. You know,
like Casablanca.
Ben-Hur is a masterpiece. You know, Bridge on the River Kwai is a masterpiece. Whether the story is real or whatever it is, doesn't matter. I'm talking about filmmaking.
African Queen is a masterpiece.
African Queen, I would agree with you, is a masterpiece. And that right there, selectively, mostly just because of the acting, which usually doesn't make it a masterpiece. That's just how powerful you got. And now I would agree that in the 80s, maybe there are more than one, but I can't think of many, but I can think of them in the 90s. I can think of them in the 70s, the 60s, the 50s, the 40s, the 30s. I have ones in my Rolodex now that stand out. Fucking Laurence Olivier, anything really,
as I was just kind of quickly saying, is the fact that as you dig deeper and you look at the things that people are not respecting, then you start finding stuff that was even like super popular.
Well,
and it was a lot better than anybody thought on a revisionist level.
That's a different argument, in my opinion, because when it comes down to you need films like cult class. You need films that are you need films like exploitation films, especially like let's talk about 70s black exploitation. We get to a point where nobody was really watching any black creators because they were being stamped out back then. So how are you going to create a masterpiece if everybody's working against you even being a filmmaker? And my point on this is you become independent. You work against the system. You build your own things. And yes, you can have no budget. You can have nothing. And it's a masterpiece.
Charles Burnett, Killer of Sheep, is a beautiful example.
Yeah, I will take your word on it. But no, I'm kidding.
As far as you were saying on that, like
So you need. So like, I'm not saying masterpieces are the most important films, because going back and looking at the independent films of like black exploitation or looking at the French New Wave, looking at all these things, like I would argue that Breathless is a masterpiece, but I would argue that 400 Blows maybe isn't. Not that it's not an amazingly great film, but you see what's the standout.
You're not talking about the 80s Breathless with Richard Gere, I'm assuming.
I'm never talking about a Richard Gere movie.
I know.
I'm I will, if Masterpiece and Richard Gere are not two words I'm going to use together.
The Sound of Music. 3 words you'll never use together.
Is a honestly, I think The Sound of Music is more like the 80s. Mary Poppins, masterpiece.
Yeah.
Mary Poppins is a masterpiece. Sound of Music kind of like Rise That Coat. I know it came out after, but fuck it.
Sugar Hill.
I like Sugar Hill. I don't think this is a masterpiece in black exploitation. No. I think Black Caesar is.
Never seen that either.
Again, and it's
great film.
And the masterpiece is also going to have influence to it.
Yeah.
And I will say anything. One argument I'll make about like a movie like Black Caesar and a lot of movies in the 70s, not just black exploitation films, is that they were so independent. We got so much more guerrilla filmmaking.
Yeah.
Which led to truly monumental and amazing moments. Jaws is a masterpiece because the shark didn't fucking work. That's that, like, so it doesn't matter what it is, but the 80s was so satirized. The 80s was so, like, you would think Beverly Hills Cop, most people would be like, that's a masterpiece. It's not. It's amazing. It's great. I will watch it, and it's filled with nostalgia and love and action and everything in between. But it's not something that's going to last forever.
What about Spielberg's catalog from the 80s? I just pulled up.
I would hard argue against maybe E.T. Maybe E.T.
E.T. The Color Purple.
Color Purple is a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great movie. I would not classify it as a masterpiece, personally. Again, another Jewish director in a black film.
Yeah.
See, I don't think that proves my point in any way, but I am mentioning it.
I understand your point, but for me, like when it comes to masterpiece, to me, everything has to be clicking on all cylinders. Cinematography, performances, the direction, everything on a technical level, score. And so I'm a little bit more lenient in my definition of masterpiece. To me, it just has to be like you're batting. What's that? Batting 1,000. I'm so messed up with my baseball rules, but you have to have a perfect game, basically. If we equate it in sports, and for me, I get the timeless factor. If you're gauging masterpiece on timeless, then yeah, you're right. 80s only really has like maybe 1 or 2.
Yeah.
But for me, under my definition, with like just batting 100, I can name at least 5 80s movies.
No baseball manager wants you to bat 100.
Bat 1,000, whatever. You know,
bat 3.
Perfect game.
Or more. I didn't mean to cut. Did I cut you off? Because I was gonna speak.
That was the end of my thought. That was the end of my thought.
But what you were saying, actually, to start there, what would you consider an 80s movie masterpiece? Let's start with the 80s because that was my biggest claim.
Yeah, I put like 5 of mine out.
Oh no, I'd love to hear them, please.
Oh no, okay. Well, I gave you 2 of them already.
Wait, which
was Color Purple?
The Color Purple. Yeah, I mean, again, an amazing film. But
Spielberg is a hot director. He's just a heater in the 80s.
But that's the thing about Spielberg. He makes amazing films, but he
I would say Raging Bull too. I love Raging Bull. That would be my third.
That's a great movie. That is. Honestly, I could argue with you. Yeah, that's probably. Yeah, you know what? All right, so there you go. Another 1980 film. So one could argue that 1980 was still very much an influence of the 70s.
Yeah. Because the 80s didn't have their voice until 84.
And 89 could argue with Do the Right Thing that was more of a view of time progressing into the 90s.
Yeah.
Out of the 80s. And I'm not arguing that. I'm not trying to loophole anything or anything like that. And I realize I'm completely
loophole.
But like The Color Purple, like when it comes to Spielberg, I think Jaws is a masterpiece. And honestly, besides Schindler's List, he doesn't have another one.
Not even Saving Private Ryan. You wouldn't
not even Jurassic Park, which is one of my favorite movies. Saving Private Ryan, for the same reason I wouldn't classify The Color Purple. These are they're truly fantastic, amazing feats in filmmaking. The Shining is a good one. The Shining, I would consider anything by Kubrick. I'd consider.
See, I find
I think
Shining
that like kind of
overrated.
puts it above
The moon landing,
I find Shining overrated.
the movie.
masterpiece.
No, but like the Color Purple, for the same reason with Saving Private Ryan, it's very nice, but it's very satirized in like whimsy. He
Okay.
has a thing about whimsy in his films. I think the reason Jaws doesn't really have that is because he hated making it. It didn't work, and they had to piece it together, and it was his genius that did it. Now, the dude is probably one of the greatest producers of all time, one of the greatest directors too, and I take nothing away from him in his directing. But
See, I wouldn't even classify Jaws though, because that's his first movie. Like your first movie out the gate to me.
But that's exactly it.
Wait a minute. That's his first movie out the gate.
Duel was his first film.
bro.
Yeah, his first feature film out the gate. He made a TV movie called Duel that people love, but his first feature film out the gate. I'm like, I don't really. To me, but that's me. I'm biased. I don't really count his like first swing as that's no. You gotta find your voice first, and then whatever it is after you find your voice, that's your masterpiece.
I completely agree. All right. If that's the case, though, there's so many filmmakers on their first movie, it's considered
their
high movies. Like
because they'll say Boys in the Hood for Singleton. They'll say Boys in the Hood. That's his first film.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't classify it as a masterpiece. Singleton was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Training Day, maybe.
That's Fuqua. Yeah.
Training Day.
That was Zartan Fuqua, yeah.
Training Day, I think that's one that always lasts.
Really? Over Boys in the Hood, Training Day.
Yeah. Boys in the Hood is
I don't know. I can't get with you on that one.
Boys in the Hood does not speak to I'm not even talking about outside of black audiences. I'm talking about people outside of urban settings. I grew up in urban settings. All of us did. And I think that is a bigger movie among people who grew up closer to or in urban settings than it is in like Midwest. You know what I mean? I'm talking about that from a sheer numbers standpoint of like how it's remembered. I think it's an influential movie. Mm-hmm. I take nothing away from it. But it's I would not. I don't know if I'd clarify that. Like whereas Training Day was just sort of a mix of something different that just kind of blew you out of the water, and it still resonates.
See, I think Training Day is like an all-timer Denzel performance, but I wouldn't go.
That's a big one, though. Denzel's an amazing actor. Like something like that, I would definitely classify. Well, no, I'm not gonna say definitely. I would have to think about it, rewatch it again, and do it. Like I'm not gonna do my due diligence, but just throwing it out there, I could see why some people would argue it as a masterpiece.
Or shit, I would say Malcolm X is more of a masterpiece.
Malcolm X is 1,000% a masterpiece. It came out in the 90s.
Yeah.
90s probably has the most masterpieces.
Dude, Denzel got the most masterpieces? Yeah, you're right.
And I would argue that the 90s is the renaissance of black filmmaking.
So the 90s, what did you just say? The 90s has the most?
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, I'm questioning how exactly these films are categorizing as masterpieces. Now, when you're talking about them, and it seems like is it categorize the best of what is available in film at any given time that represents mass culture? My question is, I'm a revisionist. So, you look at like 1962 and okay, is it a film that represents 1962 or is it really a film that represents this group in 1962 that virtually nobody saw, but finally people are seeing it, and yes, it's a masterpiece.
So you're saying Mississippi Burning is a masterpiece?
I think Mississippi Burning was a very good film. I won't say it's a masterpiece, but at the time I saw it as a kid, it hit me.
But to argue that it was a great representation of the time in which it represents.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So to argue that point when it comes to masterpiece, I think that's the thing about masterpiece. It may be representing or take place within a time, but it is timeless. You can watch The Godfather and be like, I don't see myself in this movie. I don't see myself in the time frame. I don't see myself in New York City at that time, but I see myself, I recognize, and it's familiar to me. And it's something that resonates throughout. and it's something that, in a deep personal way, within audience member, the relationship between audience member and the filmmakers behind the project, cast, crew, and such. That is, it's a movie that every movie I think sends a message. Sometimes the messages you don't like, sometimes the message you only
Solo, which is actually a good message, but it just is a little hard to take.
Yeah, fair. It's but something like that, like every movie sends you a message as the audience, on a personal scale. But when we all collectively agree on the messages that certain movies are sending us, like these masterpieces, the ones that stand out, and we can kind of all come together on, that's, I think, what it is. It's not just a representation, it's a representation of film. It's a representation of the power of movies and what they can do, what they can make you feel, and the art that goes behind it. It is the best paintings, in the museum, all in one space. It's the ones you definitely go to see.
But remember, Pablo Picasso was an asshole. But nobody ever called him.
He was.
It's very fair.
He was. I don't even know who that is, but I agree.
You know what Pablo Picasso is?
I know Picasso.
That's him.
That's the same dude, man.
I never knew his first name. I've always heard of him.
He probably was thinking the motherfucker was my cousin.
Nah, not Picasso. Pablo, yes.
Pablo,
Picasso.
yeah. Like, I don't know.
Bill
Pablo
Banderas played him, I believe, in the movie once.
Escobar.
It's not even a joke.
Alien Gonzalez.
Okay, there's one in the 80s that I didn't say that is a Spielberg movie that I think might be above Jaws in terms, and it's.
Let me guess. Temple of Doom.
No. Raiders.
Ooh, Raiders. Okay.
Raiders is good.
Raiders. Like there are. I know there are
from
some
that
in
classic, like serial adventure background and brings it to the time period that is now the 80s.
Yeah.
So
and
that
beyond, though,
reimagining something from one time into a new time can really create a masterpiece.
And also another thing about masterpieces too is they're always being recreated. All movies are generally being recreated in some way, but masterpieces are always influencing things going forward. So like saying something like Raiders or Jaws. I mean, Jesus, at times when you watch a movie, you couldn't take a bath without hearing in your head, dun, dun, like it's influential. It's something that is always going to
becomes part of popular culture.
I would say it even extends past popular culture and becomes a part of our lives in a way that is ingratiated in us. You're gonna be in a pool. I don't think that's pop culture when you're in a pool with your kids and you just start chasing them around going, dun, dun. They may have no idea what you're talking about, but they know it's probably a shark because of the sound. You know what I mean? So like that, those are the movies that transcend. If I go
now, baby
walking
shark
down
if
I'm walking on the street and I go, King Kong ain't got shit on me, you're gonna know what that's from. Everyone within the vicinity or some shit like that.
It's so funny you say that because I remember playing, I think it was Street Fighter with Henry, and I whooped his ass. I jumped, King Kong ain't got shit on me, beat my chest. I sat back down like nothing happened. Sometimes you gotta do shit like that, guys. You just jumpstart the day.
So what is next week that I will not be here for?
Oh, time to spin that beautiful, beautiful, beautiful wheel.
Spin the wheel.
Thank you for talking about masterpieces with us on this horror podcast where we
Sugar Hill. We barely talked about it.
Where we talk about a lot of not masterpieces.
What the fuck is this? I put a lot more movies on here.
Well, because there's only 4. We only do 4 a week.
If I really, really want to talk about the movie, can I veto next week's? Because
which one do you really want to talk about?
Oh man, shit. Abby, what all is on here?
Blackula. And, Dr.
Oh,
Black.
we gotta do Blackula. That's a classic.
Blackula and which other one?
Dr. Black and Mr. Hyde.
Oh, Dr. Black, Mr. Hyde, piece of shit. So
you gonna have me on here?
Yeah, that was sort of lower on the list that Sturdy didn't want to go with.
Yeah. It's also I think it's a little bit later in Blaxploitation also. Not 100% certain, but I think it's like late 70s.
You should have kept the wheel, put them all up. You made me get all the goddamn posters for you.
Then there would only be before being
watch
done.
Abby?
Oh, no,
That's
no,
all right,
no,
but don't
no,
keep
no,
the
no,
wheel.
no, no. Okay.
The Black
good.
Exorcist?
I want Abby. I want Abby. I want Abby. I want Abby.
Blackula.
I'm glad.
Okay,
I'm
William
glad.
Marshall is the shit, but Abby is amazing.
Shakespearean actor, by the way. Shakespearean.
Which, by the way, and I'll
And
say this because I have one.
Playhouse. King of Cartoons.
William Marshall, who plays Blackula, is also
in Abby.
Well, that's true, but it's not what I'm going for. He plays Daystrom in the original Star Trek series, which goes on. Daystrom Institutes is a big deal in Star Trek. So, like, he was the actor that played the Daystrom in the original Star Trek. So
I'm glad we were both able to pull that. You pull a Star Trek, I pull a Pee-wee.
Yes, he was on Pee-wee. He was the king.
Oh,
right.
That's right.
You're
King
absolutely
of Cartoons.
No, he was on a TV show.
Yeah. This character's called the King of Cartoons.
King Cartoons, that's right. Yeah. I forgot that he was on that, and I just watched that documentary. So it's funny.
He's on the dock. That's how I knew. I'm like, oh man,
Yeah.
it's Blackula.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dude, yeah. There's so many wonderful people on that show, but yeah, William Daniels. So I'm glad you did put this on the list because you've never seen Blackula.
Oh, you?
I haven't seen any movies on this list, so I'm happy to go.
I know, but Blackula is sort of probably the most famous black exploitation horror film.
Oh yeah,
hands down, and it's such a good movie.
Its sequel is actually pretty solid too, but
Blackula
Blackula is the signature blaxploitation horror film.
Yep.
Okay.
Now I know Mick is going to disagree with me, but I unironically say that this is a masterpiece, Blackula. That's how much I love the. Like, it's a perfect game for me. Like I said, it's a perfect game.
Unlike Blankenstein, which is a mess.
No one talks about Blankenstein.
So that was on the list.
So I can't wait for you guys to watch Blackula.
Oh, it's gonna be fun. I can't wait to see it myself. I love watching movies that are new
be
to
there
me.
for it, but in Vegas.
I don't understand. Like, every time Sturdy like watches one of these films, like, he's just like, too many black people.
That's 30.
It's true. I heard it.
See, Chris
don't listen to this.
Not enough.
No. I said he said it. I said he said it.
Not enough Puerto Ricans. That's what Chris says.
Oh, that's yeah. It's true.
Oh, we got about 2 in Blackula, so you good.
All right, cool.
We got about 2.
There's a minimum 2 quota. There's a certain amount of stop zone I need, you know.
We should make a black exploitation trailer for Sturdy's channel.
Oh yeah.
So is there Latin exploitation or Latino
I know who the bad guy is. He's got the hat and everything.
Yeah, his name is Robert Rodriguez.
That
I'm the henchman.
there's not as much. I mean, the closest thing I could say is, stuff that was influenced by like Vigilante and like The Last Fight.
I was gonna say it's pretty much anything that they depict, like South Compton, considered a Latin exploitation film. Like what was the one that we watched with the Mexican gang and the one white boy, and he ends up going to jail with them?
Oh, Blood In, Blood Out.
Blood In, Blood Out.
Yeah.
Chico, yeah.
Wait, when did you watch Blood In, Blood Out?
Like a year and a half ago.
Popcorn and yeah, on our it was off of our.
That's a good one.
It was off our rice and beans wheel.
It was more than just.
Oh my God.
Rice, it was right. No, it was more than just rice and beans because it was white movies. It was white leads, black leads, and it was rice and beans, chicken and grits, and cheese and
crackers and cheese. Yeah.
Is that where the names came from?
Charity board. Yeah, we should have
the names that you call all of us came from.
Yep. That's what we did it. We were just because we made the group chat Popcorn and Pints, right? And then we're just like, let's do something fun with food, and then boom, that's what our wheel's gonna be called or some shit. I don't know what the hell our wheel was called, but it was multicultural, and we only use the cultures that were on it because it would be kind of fucked up if we use other ones that weren't there. Like, you guys are fucked up.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. We didn't do the Asian markets. We didn't do
God.
We missed
Give me that chum.
But the thing is, though, with that, it's fun to do that. It's fun. It's funny. And people, what the fuck? Rice and beans? What the hell are they talking about? Taco? Like all this other. Why are they doing
like
this?
Selena and shit? Fucking
all right,
chef.
can I ask this then? If you guys did have an Asian co-host, what would you have called it then?
Fried rice. Fried rice.
Not egg roll?
Or I'd ask them. What's your favorite?
Beef and broccoli.
Yeah.
dumplings or
beef and broccoli.
Yeah, or egg drop,
Damn.
egg roll. I don't know.
Wonton
Yeah,
soup.
wonton.
They would have to pick that host.
But
would
that's
have
Chinese. We're saying Chinese things. Like Japanese has a completely different menu. Korean has
Well,
a different
Well, I thought
menu.
you said
It would depend
Asian.
It depends on who
We need
shows
a
up.
food that encompasses all of Asia.
yeah, we got
Rice.
the tune in
Rice?
in there.
Fried rice.
Well, we have rice and beans, though. I don't want to get it confused.
They already got that in there. It's already in the.
I like that
and
my
beans.
brain is so
Pork
inclusive
fried
that I
rice.
have to think of something
Fish
offensive
sauce?
for every group.
Fish
sauce.
You
Sweet
said
and
sour.
sour.
Oh my god!
chicken
I'm
on
not
a
gonna-
stick.
and this show because something popped in my head.
Satay?
I'm not saying it.
Sushi
You gotta
and
say it
soy.
after the say it after the rice.
Hibachi.
Hibachi, that might be a good.
No, I
time.
was thinking.
God.
I was
Food
thinking of
based.
something else. I was thinking
Again.
of wet bar. I was going to say wet
What
bars.
the fuck are you talking about?
Again,
Snow peas.
again,
Crazy.
Mick. It would all depend on who was on the show with us. That's going to not only on the show with us, but that's going to contribute to the wheel
Yeah.
for their culture of films, and then whatever their background is what food dish we would
I
pick
want
for
to
that.
veto cheese and
food dish?
crackers. I want to call it hot dogs.
He had
People
chicken and
love hot
waffles.
What was the White Land movies title again?
Crackers and cheese.
Crackers.
Cheese and crackers.
Cheese and
That's
crackers,
what they,
yeah.
listen. That's what they wanted to be called. I didn't.
Is
call
that why
it
you went on a tirade for like 3 months saying that all white people love cheese?
Well,
You
name
kept
one
trying to convince
Yeah, I know
me that I
about white
love
people. I don't know a
cheese.
lot of white people that eat
Do you
fat.
love cheese?
I do, but I didn't think it was because I was white.
I'm just saying. I asked a lot of white people. They love cheese. I did find one person that does not like cheese at all, and I'm proud of her.
I didn't
Most
like
white people are
food.
lactose
Like,
intolerant.
well, everybody eats white people food. I don't even like cheeseburger and hot dogs, but everybody eats that.
Trevor.
He
What?
seems.
I'm trying to follow. This.
Oh, so we had okay. So on our other show, Popcorn and Pints, which people that listen to Horror Research 30, you guys are gonna get
Okay.
you're gonna get a little on this too. We had our quote unquote cultural wheel where we had white led movies, black led movies, and Spanish led movies. And so just to make it fun,
A cultural.
yeah, cultural, whatever you want to call it, rice and beans, cheese and crackers, and chicken and grits. We had chicken and grits because me and Ibrahim.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wait, this isn't. By the way, this isn't the most offensive thing happening right now. Go under and check out the president's tweets. I'm sure.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
not only that, we've said a lot worse.
this has been quite innocent.
I
since
love
the
rice and
1980s,
beans.
you know?
I can eat it every day.
I love rice and beans. I love chicken and grits, and cheese with crackers is also an amazing combination.
String cheese here, so I definitely love cheese.
No comment.
I can't eat cheese by itself.
No comment.
I'm trying to
Dude,
think
I could
something the
eat
majority of the
mozzarella
Asian
provolone
world
just-
would. Curry?
But ooh,
I love curry. Curry's good though.
You think of
Curry is
like,
good.
you know,
But Jamaicans eat
India,
white people eat
Malaysia,
curry.
Indonesia,
But-
curries of
I'm not down
I'm trying to think of a unifying thing. It's not rice.
but isn't it? But curry though, it doesn't always go in Caribbean cultures too.
Yeah, that's it. Like I said, black people eat curry.
Jerk.
Yeah,
Jerk.
yeah. It's a
White
yeah.
people stuff jerk because we're jerks.
Wow.
But jerk
We're
is
not all gonna be
Caribbean.
winners, all right? Come now.
I mean, I could have just said mayonnaise or salt and pepper, but I didn't.
Shit, please don't.
Mayonnaise and
Don't
salt.
stick that stigma on me.
Ketchup and mustard.
That's probably
Mayonnaise and French fries.
Hey. Leave that
mayonnaise
shit
and
alone.
onion rings is money.
Mayonnaise and French fries is delicious as well. Mayonnaise.
But what you need
yes.
to do is put a little bit of ketchup and just a little bit of lime in it, and it's even better.
I will
Word.
try that. I will try
I
that.
think we need to put
I'm gonna do
fucking
that tonight.
in a fucking mayonnaise.
I'm gonna do that tonight. I'm gonna give me some McDonald's fries. Then I'm gonna get some mayonnaise. Lime.
First time I ever had that was in Puerto Rico.
What's your favorite
A
dip?
very common condiment.
Go around the horn. What's your favorite dip?
Dip,
My favorite dip.
Honey mustard.
dip.
Booty.
What's the dip for? Is it for chips? Is it for
Anything.
chips?
Yeah,
You
chips
can
and
pick.
nuggets or
You can
what's the
pick
dip
what
for?
the dip is that you want to like. I don't know.
It's tough though because if I say like my favorite dip with chips is bacon horseradish, I'm not gonna eat bacon horseradish dip with some chicken.
That's true. Yeah, because I said honey mustard for chicken.
So pick
We gotta specify it.
Chad,
a food with the
Chad,
dip.
they're gonna
How do you not like mayo? It's the same color as you.
You're not wrong, but at the same time, I don't love it. I mean, it makes some sandwiches better. I think I like other people's mayonnaise more than my own.
I don't even know how to take that.
Like going into
That's
somebody
our-
else's home and taking
No,
their
sucking
mayonnaise.
someone else's. No, I'm sorry.
Wow.
I don't think that's mayonnaise. And if it looks like mayonnaise, you might want to consult a doctor.
Yeah.
I didn't know what that
Put
was.
on your
If
sandwich.
it looks like man is consult the doctor, then it's still a needed stat.
No.
Danger, Will
No.
Robinson.
So, all right. So, like when I go and I get a sandwich from the store, like a Jersey Mike's or something, right?
Okay.
And I order it Mike's way with mayo. It tastes
Okay.
great. But if I were to come home and make a sandwich and put mayo on it, it does not taste great.
They're using a
tastes
different
like
mayo, or
it-
you're
it-
using a different mayo.
Mayo at home tastes like I'm eating white people.
What do you use for
It's
mayo?
like Soylent
While
Green.
I'm eating them, they're having like really annoying conversations about like a fucking car. Or something.
Turn your mic up, Mick. This guy said,
I probably shouldn't turn my mic up. That's the point on this.
eating mayo at home tastes like white people is the funniest shit
Mayo
ever.
is Soylent Green.
From a white man.
That's-
I don't. I mean, it's around me, I guess, more than anybody else. Look at
I've
me.
recently discovered Duke's mayo, and it is really fucking good. I was a
Stop
Hellman's guy
trying to
my
pitch
whole
mayo,
life.
dude. Stop trying to
I'm
pitch
just
mayo.
saying. I'm just saying.
I just heard about that last.
I'm not
Either
prejudiced.
we've
I have
made
male
John
friends.
mad-
I have other male friends. I'm not prejudiced. I'm not racist.
You might want
I
to check
think-
on
He'll be back.
Real quick, I just wanted to say, based on the amount I've consumed in my life, I would have to say
Sorry, y'all lost.
salsa
My bad, I'm
is my
sorry, bro.
condiment. But
Salsa,
also, I have to get my old ass to bed here soon. So,
Oh,
I'm
we're-
gonna say,
That was an accident. I didn't mean to dip on you. You
Oh,
guys didn't.
So we're having a party.
You're
You were
good.
gone?
Good.
Yeah, I left for a second. I hit the
I'm just
wrong
messing
button on my computer.
I was wishing it was this guy instead.
But
Your bullshit.
we are going to do what most of us don't do here, which is wrap up. And
Speak for yourself.
oh, I was speaking for the room.
in responsible ways, you always should.
Do not wrap up.
I mean, I don't need to.
I've bought more that I haven't used than I ever did use.
Don't ever tell me to wrap up again.
We're talking
That's what I
blankets,
said.
right?
Oh,
Or
sorry.
burritos or something.
Yeah, jeez.
Those
Ugh.
count.
Okay.
Those count.
Like cling wrap.
There you go. Keep things
It's like
fresh.
saran wrap your food. Jeez.
You gotta keep it fresh. I got you.
Jeez.
Make sure you guys go check out these awesome people with me. I'm not gonna call them gentlemen anymore.
I couldn't
We got
keep it
worse
straight.
than
I thought
Gamer.
we were characters.
What were you calling us? Speculums or something before?
We were
I forget.
characters.
Oh, characters.
Characters. Okay.
You got Worst Damn Gamer right over here. Make sure you guys go check him out everywhere. Worst Damn Gamer ever. Does he live up to the name? Tune into his content and find out. Ambassador Media, right down here. This genius, the professor.
No.
He's a professor for a reason.
I'm
He's
not
humble.
a professor.
You're our professor. It's listen. He's Professor T. That's who he is. You guys better address him as that or don't address him at all.
Squirrel.
And we have Nick Manhattan over here from the Scene Snobs.
Who?
Amazing show. Been running for a couple years now. And
They have?
you have these two up here, these two lovers, Worst Damn Gamer and the Scene Snobs, both wearing blue.
I'm always on top.
See?
Oh, people.
And make sure you guys also go check out Johnny Loves Movies. And
It's
Johnny's
been an
got-
honor hanging out with you, Johnny.
New
By the way.
episodes on new episodes at midnight.
Nice, nice.
Ooh, what are you doing?
I don't know.
He doesn't know yet.
I don't know. But it's definitely probably going to be talking about Sinners again because I can't get that movie.
Oh,
out of my
cool.
head.
So good. So
Really quick, Johnny.
masterpiece. Masterpiece. There you go. I'm
Thank
calling it now. Masterpiece. Ryan Coogler, another masterpiece level director.
Perfect game. He
Boom.
pitched the perfect game.
let them know about your show, Johnny, so the guys can kind of hear about what you do on your podcast, your two shows. You have the food one and your
Johnny Loves Movies usually comes out on Thursdays, but we're gonna do a little rush show tonight. It's gonna come out on midnight. We're either gonna talk about Sinners, or we're going to just talk about the current state of movies and the box office and how fandom equates success. Every Thursday, usually is every Thursday at noon. Tonight's going to be at midnight. Unfortunately, work, life. Also, we're getting some irons in the fire or in the pot, however you say it. We have a Twitch show that's coming up with me and my boy,
cool.
Matt. He is a stand-up comedian, and we're just going to vibe and shoot the shit. And that's going to be every Wednesday around 8 o'clock on Twitch.
Nice.
So that's what we got going on. The link's in the description below for like all my stuff, my Twitch channel, the podcast, and yeah, that's what's going on here in Johnny Loves Movies land.
Make sure you guys go check them out, and of course, come here every Thursday at 8 o'clock Eastern time for some more Horror Research 30, and 9 o'clock every Saturday for some popcorn and pints. And we're getting, you guys see what we got coming up with these next couple of weeks in popcorn and pints. We're going from action to crying. You'll see. Tune in and find out.
Tell them about next week.
We're going up somewhere. And then your boy's 30. Moving into that horror host range, that horror host realm. Friday.
Exactly.
First Black Horror host.
Midnight. 12 a.m. 12 a.m. So set your alarms for 11:45 p.m. Actually, you know what? 10 o'clock p.m. because I know people are going to be late. Get up. Get your asses up. Get yourself a snack. And be ready to watch every single Friday the 13th film from 12 a.m. till it's done. Till it's done. Gonna be watching the movies, doing a watch along, having a marathon, going live.
I wish I could join you for Jason Goes to Hell, but I can't.
Fucking time. I wish you could join too, good sir. But you'll be there for another one. Don't worry about that.
Well, I love that movie, and most
that's
people
a 12-hour stream, buddy.
20. It's like a 20-hour stream. 20
yeah,
plus.
do the remakes. Yeah.
I'm doing every single from the original all the way up to 2009. All
so
12.
I'll be working when we doing our favorite one because we got the same favorite one. I'm mad that I ain't gonna be able to join that one.
Wait, what's your favorite one? 7?
5.
Oh, I love 5. 5 isn't my favorite, but I love 5.
I just heard one of you say Jason Goes to Hell is your favorite. I heard one of you say A New Beginning's your favorite, and I heard one of you say A New Blood's your favorite.
I love Freddy versus Jason.
I'm out of here.
Whoa. What's your favorite? 4?
It's not about favorites.
Is it Jason Lives? You're a Jason Lives guy, aren't you?
Switches. I'm kidding. I'm fucking.
Jason Lives is my second one. 6. I love that one.
Part 2 or part 6 are interchangeable. Part 4 is a close.
Okay.
But part 2 and part 6 are probably my favorites.
I just like how wild they went with number 5. How they went to like a different guy. I just like that was a bold move. I respect it. I'm like, bold move, bold strategy. See,
it was.
Jason is dog shit, and people who pick that one as their favorite is weird. But...
Next Friday the 13th. Next Friday. Chad, you know this.
What day is the Friday 13th marathon? Friday 13th.
Friday 13th.
All day.
Games. We're gonna have fucking trivia.
I mean, trivia, play games. Yeah, cool.
Some facts. All kinds of fun shit. Just make sure you're here for it because you're not gonna want to miss it. And it won't be on that Z Network channel. Just over here on Sturdovision. Be on the lookout for that, people. Be on the lookout for that. It's gonna be a great time. But we're gonna get on out of here. Trevor, safe travels for your vacation. Enjoy,
sir.
Thank you.
And again, make sure you guys go check out everyone on this screen right here, all their content because it's some dope stuff, including Chad over at the Video Store Clerks. White people, don't get mad that he doesn't like mayo. Don't hold that against him. He's still a good man. He's still a good man.
He still likes his salt.
Okay.
He does. He does. But with that said, I'll see you in your nightmares. Peace.